So some of the amazing experiences I had as a hospice social worker in 1994, I graduated from USC with a master's in social work. So my work took me as the hospice social worker all over LA County, and this was back before the internet and back before cell phones. So you would get a call, I'd get a call, and I'd have to look at my pager and go to a payphone and have the Thomas Brothers guide in my car, and I just never knew where I was going. I could be down in Long Beach and get a call saying I needed to go to Malibu or Duarte, and so I'd have to find out where I was going. And sometimes I wouldn't know anything about the family. I would just get a name, and I'd show up and find out what was happening in that situation. And sometimes the people didn't even know they'd been put on hospice care. And I would show up and say, I'm your hospice social worker. And so I'd have to, deal with issues like that and have to explain to them. I'd have different cultures, like where with an Iranian family I could not tell the children that the mother was dying, and you have to respect the wishes of the families you're working with, so you work with them as best you can. Just all different kinds of issues that would come up, and it was interesting just going with the flow and, not being judgmental. Victims of domestic violence. I would work with a lot of the HIV patients. Patients were dying of AIDS in those days. So I would have about, 3 people dying every day. And the community really came together. I'd have families where, if they were a certain religion and they had been looked down upon for being gay, if the family was going to reunite, and trying to work out those kinds of issues. Sometimes people flying in from Utah and reuniting with their gay son before he died, and just being able to try and connect people like that on those issues. And just going to Armenian family, like, try Armenian coffee, and I'm like, okay, what's that? Or of just wherever I was and being invited to experience their culture. It just was so amazing. I'm trying to think of just beautiful experiences of just, if both parents were dying of HIV, I had that where I was working with the young children. I'd have to go and explain to them what was happening, why both parents were dying, of AIDS. I would have, people who were drug addicts taking care of a dying parent and working with those kinds of issues. So LA is just a city you just didn't know what you were going to get, and you just always had to be prepared, but that's what made it really unique and a really wonderful place for me to learn, all about death and dying. And I say LA taught me about death and dying, and even today I'll drive around the city and I say, I know that house, over there's a convalescent home, or there's that. And so it is interesting. I learned LA by, helping the dying, and I think there's no better way to actually learn a city for it, because it's a beautiful experiences for me.